Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Calypso Showcase. Tonight we pay tribute to the mighty spoiler, Theophilus Phillips, who lived and performed during the era from 1946 to 1960. In fact, he passed away on Christmas Eve, 1960. He was buried at the Woodbrook Cemetery in Mucurapo Road, St. James. And today, when one looks at the condition of his grave, the tune Bomber's Dream, which Bomber used in 1964 to win the National Monarch title, seems very appropriate indeed.
It was coming to about 5 o'clock in the morning. Rain started to fall. He said he was leaving. So he sent best regards to friends and family and said, tell all my fans that the spoil say howdy. Believe me, between sleep and wake at the break of day. I don't know where he went, but he went away. It's only then Bomber got to know that I was dreaming about a genius in Calypso. And he tell me, sing about the fellas who collect money. And they say they're going to build a nice tomb for me. I used to sing for them like a slave. They wouldn't even burn a cock set on top of my grave.
Strangely though, no one has been able to accurately pinpoint his date of birth up to this point in time. His death certificate listed his age as 34, though it seems more likely he was born in 1924 and passed away at the youthful age of 36. He went to school in Princestown and attended the Princestown EC School. One of his fellow students, Baldwin Atterley, testifies that he was a very witty student indeed. His Calypso career spanned from 1946 to 1960, and it is believed that the first song he sang was What Happened on VJ Day. This was in 1946. The following year, he performed tunes like Rum vs. Rum, Jumping Cat, Foul Foot, and Marabella Pork Vendor. And then in 1948, he sang Royal Wedding in tribute to the Queen who got married that year, and Teaching a Madman to Drive. In 1949, South Chauffeurs in the City. No recordings, unfortunately, of these early songs could be located, and it's a pity because when one looks at the literary style of the spoiler, one can only imagine what we may be missing. In 1950, however, he did a Calypso, I Went to College, a real tongue twister. And Calypsonian relator who performed recently at the mass camp did a commendable job of interpreting how Spoiler might have performed this tune.
This one, Spoiler Went to College. I am concentrating on knowing the verses, doing the verses first, learn the verses, because Spoiler's writing, my writing is kind of similar to how Spoiler would write, kind of chronological, if that is the correct word. So the verses is not too hard for me to learn, but that spelling of the words in between there, his spelling, you know, it's a kind of tongue twisting, you know.
I had the privilege last year to buy books and go to college. The spoiler had the privilege last year to buy books and go to college. When coming to subjects like grammar, mathematics and so, they tie up the spoiler. But when coming to spelling, I make them ball. None of them can spell with the spoiler at all. Silence, hear the spelling. A-P-P-O-L-A-I-N, aeroplane. M-A-P-P-O-S-P-A-N-E, Port of Spain. K-A-N-E-Y-V-A-L, that's carnival. And K-A-T-T-Y-D-R-A-L, cathedral. I wanna pause.
In 1951, he sang Ugly Girls with Pretty Names and Woman Police. These two selections were very popular in that day, and apparently Spoiler composed the one on the Woman Police based on a move in 1951 to introduce police women in Trinidad. In fact, Juve Morning, it is reported a character played first woman police, arresting men along the way on Juve Morning and holding them tight, tight, tight. While David Barrow, who portrayed Spoiler in the local production I Wanna Fall, did an excellent job on women police.
They should have woman police in Trinidad. Bet your life, spoiler will be more than glad. They should have woman police in Trinidad. Bet your life, spoiler will be more than glad. I only waiting on one keeping duty. I running right away and I kissing she. And when she latch on to me, I wouldn't say a word because I hugging up my police going down the road. And that is why I pulling away from she for she to hold me tight. The woman police must hold me tight, and that doing all of us spite for she to hold me tight, tight, tight.
It is reported that in 1953, Spoiler did a remake of Royal Wedding because that was the year of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth, who was married previously in 1948. He also sang a tune, Mad Scientist, here again performed by David Barrow.
I was telling him about a nine-legged duck when suddenly at my front door I heard a knock. I thought it was my daughter or my girlfriend, but to my great surprise was 4 policemen. They arrest the scientist. I said, look man, this scientist fella in here is my friend. They said, scientist, spoiler not this louse. He's a madman that run away from the madhouse. The scientists say, so help me bless, people will make children by wireless. You can take your scissors from off the shelf. You could unscrew your head and trim it yourself. Sing it out, boy. Listen to this spoiler. I wanna fall.
There is some confusion as to what tune he actually sang that year in competition. That was in 1953. Records say that Royal Wedding was the tune that he sang. However, speaking to the Calypsonian pretender who competed with him that year, he confirmed that the tune, in fact, that Spoiler sang was Bedbug, a tune which has almost become his signature tune to date. Here we have the mighty Bomber singing Bedbug.
Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as some insect or animal. Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as some insect or animal. Well, if it's so, I don't want to be a monkey, neither a goat or sheep or donkey. My brother say he want to come back a hog, but no spoiler, I want to be a bed bug just because I want to bite them young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know your thing don't be in a fright, it's only big fat women that are going to die. Oh Lord, sing it out, boy.
What it is that Spoiler had that he was able to bring to a Calypso to bring out that brand of humor?
I think, and if I may say so myself, that Spoiler was born to sing Calypso. He had a creative imagination that I have not seen in any Calypsonian alive or dead. He was so unique, you know, and well, he used to do his little dirty ditties, I may say so, by himself. But every time he came on stage professionally to sing in the commercial tents, he was just clean and had people laughing all over the place. He was beautiful. By them young ladies' partner, like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you think don't be in a right, it's only one that woman has
Spoiler defended his title the following year against the likes of Calypsonians, Melody, Panther, Sagalba, Pretender, and Lord Blakey. Lord Melody won the competition singing Second Spring. However, Spoiler returned to capture the crown in 1955, singing Picking Sense Out of Nonsense. Only Calypsonian mystic Prowler could remember all of the lyrics of this calypso, and here he is, entertaining fans at the mass camp, singing this Spoiler tune.
Well, Picking Sense Out of Nonsense has so much imagination in it. I don't know how to explain it, but could you imagine that someone like John is bidden by the pipe, they ask him, well, put on something. Well, I say, actually, you know, a man like him, he should go on inside and really put on some cloak or something to cover himself. But just imagine the man putting on a tie. I find that's great humor. And these days, we don't get that much humor in Calypso, and I find it was real impressive. That's why I keep this song all these years with me, and it's very close to my heart.
Every morning you wake in La Trinity, you're compelled to see or hear something that's funny. And every morning you wake in La Trinity, you're compelled to see or hear something that's funny. Just imagine an Indian fella named Johnny, forbidden by a pipe, naked as he born. A police pass and say, hey, you nasty old man, put on something before send for the police van. Well, I say he was lucky to get a chance. He will go inside and put on a bathing pants. You know the man put on something that he no lie. Yes, the gentleman went and put on a tie.
It is very significant that Spoiler was unable to defend his monarch title in 1956 because he had to go on a tour to Panama. This opened the door for a very famous Calypsonian, the mighty Sparrow, who won the crown that year singing his immortal Jean and Dinah. Spoiler sang Women Police in Panama that year, no doubt influenced by his visit to Panama. He also sang Discovery Day Fete, Sleepwalking, and All Fool's Day. The tune All Fool's Day is done by the singing duo, The Regeneration Now, a couple of guys who have done more to keep Spoiler's name alive than any other Calypsonian.
I thought I was cool, but now I realize that I'm still a fool, partner. I thought I was cool, but now I realize that I'm still a fool. Believe I never realized this thing until All Fool's Day, the 1st of April. Believe I would have killed my wife and the brute if I feel she wasn't telling Spoiler the truth. I never see more believe in my life. I meet a man in my own house kissing my wife. I ask what is that? She turn wrong and say I only fool in your Spoiler is All Fool's Day. I want more.
In 1957, there were two monarchs eligible to defend their crown. The mighty Sparrow, who had won in 1956, and Spoiler, who had won in 1955 but hadn't defended his crown in 1956. Well, the mighty Sparrow withdrew and took part in an unofficial competition at the Globe Cinema, which incidentally the mighty Sparrow won. Spoiler was not as fortunate, losing to the Lord Pretender, who sang Que Sera Sera in 1957 to win the crown. One of the tunes that Spoiler sang that year was Cat Brain.
My sister was suffering at the brain, so she went for an operation by Dr. Zane. My sister had problem with her brain, so she went for an operation in Port of Spain. Now the doctor take the brain from my sister head, and for wickedness put in a canton instead. My sister brain, he put it in the kitty, So she turned the cat and the cat turned she. In the night the trouble start. She up and down the house, ransacking the bedroom looking for mouse. And the cat with her she brain, it cozy on the bed, busting kiss on top of she husband.
In 1958, Spoiler sang Wars of Long Ago. This is again performed by Calypsonian Bomber.
I bet you know that plenty people don't know how they used to fight the wars long ago. I bet you know that plenty people don't know how they used to fight the wars long ago. They didn't have no atomic business at all. No parachute landing, no bombs for fall. As a carpenter, you feel to fight war. Your arm with your hammer, chisel, and saw. No big torpedo, no big submarine. They didn't even have a flying machine. Always when they're going through the battle zone, see Napoleon pelting bottle and sword. Oh Lord, sing it out, boy.
What kind of person was Spoiler outside of the Calypso tent?
He was very friendly, very jocular, very reserved. When I say reserved, what I mean was he did not mingle much other than singing Calypso. You know, he was reserved, quiet, and he was a gentleman. He had one thing about him that he loved to drink a lot. And I think that was his downfall. No big torpedoes, no big submarine. They didn't even have a flying machine. Always when they're going through the battle zone, see Napoleon pelting bottle and
The following year, 1959, Sparrow, Melody, and Spoiler boycotted the Savannah competition and took part in a special show at the Queen's Park Oval. This was a prolific year for Spoiler, where it is recorded that he sang the following tunes: Father Christmas, Money in the Bank, My Shadow, Twin Brother, and Tarzan. Here we have David Rudder performing Father Christmas, Relator doing Money in the Bank, Funny with Twin Brother, and Rudder again with the popular Tarzan.
This is a Christmas song that Spoiler used to do anything. The closest I know to Spoiler today is Shadow, you know? You can sing along to it, right? Since I small, I always believe Father Christmas does come on Christmas Eve. Since I small, I always believe Father Christmas does come on Christmas Eve. When I was small, I used to hang up my stockings. One set of present I get in Christmas morning. Now I big like a man of war. Last year I hung up a rice bag in front me door. Oh, me darling, Christmas morning I wake up early to see what Father Christmas bring for me. He bring a police in a short pants with a warrant for me for wife maintenance.
Give Frankie a round of applause. My cousin died many years in Togo, and she left a lot of money for spoilo. My cousin died many years in Togo, and she leave a lot of money for spoilo. Now everybody's saying that a lousy. How the spoiler don't spend his money, but if they put the world in a pitch oil tin, I can't pay a cent to see the thing spin. Just because I have my money in the bank since the age of 9, and them big shot put theirs on mine. I have to wait again for a couple years in order to get out mine. They have to take out theirs.
Spoiler's music is very jazzy, and there's a lot of bebop inside of what he did, the arrangements and so on. And what I noticed with the lyrics going through the repertoire of Spoiler's work, he always seemed to bring in something about his bad luck. In nearly every story, Twin Brother was about bad luck. The one about money in the bank, a trace of bad luck. Although he's humorous, but he's always stressing how unlucky he was.
Yes.
In nearly 50% of the songs, if you go
Christmas.
to the right, yes, Christmas morning I wake up early to see what Father Christmas bring for me. He bring a police in a short pants and a warrant for me, and then I never see more believe in my life. Meet a man inside my own house kissing my wife. I ask what is that? She turned wrong and say, we only fooling you, spoiler. So there was
And
always
cake sticking. He said if he had to bring his wife to a cake sticking ceremony,
Right.
dressing his wife in a full iron mask.
Yes. So, but spoiler was a great, and I mean, it's an honor for me to be part of this tribute, just like how we did to Lord Kitchener some months ago.
Have you heard, yes, about my twin brother who was the splitting image of spoiler? Have you heard, yes, about my twin brother who was the splitting image of spoiler? Both are we had the same face, the same kind of hair, the same size of waist, the same everything you ask, Mr. Wilk. We was just like the two same make a condensed milk. If he playing football, I in the stand. I sit down with me woman named Liliana, and if he miss a ball, she will turn around, telling me I is the worst footballer in town. Oh, my darling.
How did you approach, let's say, getting the act together to do Twin Brother?
Yeah, well, what I usually do is learn it verse by verse. Although I had an idea of it in my head, Twin Brother, because I had known a lot of spoiler songs before, but it just went out my head. And, you know, you got to learn it verse by verse, take it verse at a time. That's how you do it.
And what do you think about the lyrics, the idea behind Twin Brother?
Oh, yes, great. That's one of my favorite Twin Brother. I just like the idea, the Twin Brother idea. It's a great song.
We both had the flu in the hospital. A player dead. They had a big funeral, but they ball like a horse when they discover they make a mistake and bury my twin brother. This is spoiler. I wanna ball. Sing it up.
I'd rather see Mickey Mouse drive a train than to see another Tarzan pit here again. Spoiler, rather see Mickey Mouse drive a train than to go and see another Tarzan pit here again. Tarzan riding bike and he going to dance. He eating hot dog and he wearing pants. Look, he talking more English than you and me, just like he swallow a Webster dictionary. Tarzan really civilized now for so. This Tarzan in the Tarzan of long ago. Tarzan wearing a wristwatch on top of his hand. 10 to 1 if he ain't going up for election. Long ago when you sit down to see Tarzan, he used to fight up with a tiger or a lion. But nowadays the man tamer than you and me. The lion have Tarzan like a bubbly. And the producers and them making matters worse. They have him in a wedding house giving toast. He knocking the glass, sticking the cake too, and telling you how he must sing Le Mot Toujours. The stars are really civilized now for so. The stars are in the Tarzan of long ago. Tarzan wearing wristwatch on top of hand. And he making sweet eye to married woman. This is the spoiler.
In 1960, he was again a finalist for the Calypso crown. And this was to be his last official performance in a competition as he died later that year. The tune he sang was Talking Backwards. And the fact that his career came to an end later that year leaves us to wonder what greater heights he might have attained had he lived on. Talking Backwards is here performed by Relator.
Suppose every woman could have afford to sit down and learn how to talk backward. Suppose every woman could have afford to sit down and learn how to talk backward. Instead of saying, oh me, backward is me, oh. Instead of saying, oh dear, backward is dear, oh. And when they talk so we poor men won't understand. And all them women go have advantage on man. And if a woman want to leave she man, she go talk it. He can't understand. She won't say Mary and I will leave the man. She'll just say man did leave, will I marry? I don't want to know.
Willard Harris, Relator, you've been doing an excellent job coordinating the musicians for this. Tell me a little bit about the musicians that we have put together for this exercise.
All right, we have on drums Jerry Bansfield, on bass Neville Buckaroo, on saxophone Frankie Francis, on keyboard Cecil Reyes, and on the guitar Keith Christmas. Quite competent musicians, I must tell you.
And from an era too when they would appreciate the music that Spoiler did.
Oh yes, Frankie was there out there with Spoiler in the 40s and the 50s, so he would know. He will be an inspirational force and getting things together and tight with the band.
Also performed on this special tribute to Spoiler are the tunes Lost Memory and Deaf, Blind and Naked by Regeneration Now, Cake Sticking by Prowler, Fountain of Youth by Funny, and Magistrate Trying Himself by Gypsy with a little bit of extempo at the end.
This happened recently. Some people in our village lost their memory. Oh, my darling, this happened recently. Some people in our village lost their memory. Well, I went by my uncle, I was ashamed. He can't remember me, neither my name. He watching his wife sitting on a chair, asking she who is she and what she's doing there. Just because he lost his memory. What an awful thing to stand up and see. His own wife he couldn't remember he didn't even know that the children's father was he.
One of the songs that was assigned to you all, the blind, the deaf, and the naked, because nobody else, I mean, we didn't even have a recording of that tune, and you all were the only people who could sing that song from top to bottom. Talk about that.
Well, listen, singing that song is not easy, you know, because this man, he has to be a genius to mix up the deaf, the blind, and the deaf, and between those verses, tell you different things that these people are doing at the same time. Boy, oh boy, it's not easy. Listen, when I listen to this thing, I just laugh. I just get crazy, man. Big laughter by the globe. theater with a blind, a deaf, and a naked young fella. Big laughter by the globe, theater with a blind, a deaf, and a naked young fella. Going by Grell to buy me cow tongue. Bad luck for me, me shilling fall on the ground, bending down to pick up the thing. If you see how they snatch up spoil a shilling, blind man saying is my own, I see it. The deaf man saying is he only hear it. The naked man bawling, hey, wait a minute, all you like. The shilling fall out, me shut pocket. Badam, badam, bing. Hold on. Sing it, boy. Badam, oh.
A wedding reception is a nice, nice thing, but they have a right to cut out the cake sticking. A wedding reception is a nice, nice thing, but they have a right to cut out the cake sticking. The other day I took my wife to a wedding, and they call on she for cake sticking. I growl like a tiger friend when I see she sticking the cake with a fellow nicer than me. I mean to say, if he kiss she on she cheek for about a half second, I can't understand, but no, he go hug, he go kiss like chewing gum, stick on to a warm piece of iron.
You know, cake sticking, you know, it is very amusing because, I think I grew up in an era where people used to get extremely jealous when they called two people to stick the cake that were not really, let us say, going around. Right. How do you relate to the lyrics of that, Calypso?
Well, don't talk about cake sticking. That was real fun. They don't have much of that again these days, I think. It has all gone out. But cake sticking and even christening, they used to have a christening, which was nice too, you know. But this lady, they would choose anybody from the audience, and then they'll have them come up, and then I think there's more future bride they were looking for. And Spoiler...
meet up to people.
Right, and Spoiler got that idea, and then he make it so grand and nice. And I think it's something that the young generation should really listen to and try to relate themselves with.
What do you think of this line, like chewing gum stuck to a warm piece of iron?
Warm piece of iron, yeah. They're hugging and they're kissing like chewing gum. I don't think these fellas, you know, what the writers we have today of Calypso, I think it would be real, you know. It would not bring out that kind of imagination like what Spoiler bring out. You could imagine that this chewing gum sticking to a warm piece of iron. I think they might have bring it out more smutty and people might not enjoy it. But I know people really enjoy this chewing gum on a warm piece of iron.
I mean to say, she and she cheat for about a half second. I can't understand, but no, he go hug me, be kissing like chewing gum, stick on to a warm piece of iron.
Sing it up. Suppose it happen in truth, something spring up called the fountain of youth. And if it on a mountain peak in the sky, people going for the bad, don't care if they die. Imagine a man 100 years old, see him how he climbing a greasy pole. You could be old like any King Kong. When you take the bath, you're coming back young. And then see my great-grandfather playing hopscotch and pitching marble. And my great-grandmother with a hula hoop making trouble. The old people today in town, you could hear them talking about when they was young. But with the fountain they go be bold. The whole talk will change to when they was old.
When I first started to learn it, I thought it was a little bit difficult, but after I got into it, I get to like it. I get to love it. I love how it flows, how the music, lyrics flow and everything. And I believe that's why. So I put a little more into that, even than the twin brother. I think.
Yes, the fountain of youth. You look like if that was your Calypso almost.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of the songs that I love, Fountain of Youth.
Very, very humorous, nice ideas. The question of the turning like a prune in front of you.
Suppose it happens, and so to speak, you got to renew your bad once a week. For you and know you're taking a stroll with a woman about 103 years old. She forget to renew, she bad. You making your love, talking about the moon and the stars above. And just so friends, where you go do? She face done like a salt brune in front of you, and then you want her dead when you look at what you was kissing. You cannot move cause your foot and them they ain't even moving, and you're trembling like a leaf. You can't get away from the young old beast, and she telling you, kiss me, don't be afraid. It's forget, she forget to renew, she paid. Thank you.
Well, this one is class. They charge a magistrate for driving too fast. You mustn't doubt me. Well, this one is class. They charge a magistrate for driving too fast. But there's only one courthouse in the district. He's the only magistrate there to run it. If you see how the people flock up the place to see how the magistrate go try your own case. Himself tell himself you are charged for speeding. Himself told himself the policeman lying. Himself told himself don't shout, this ain't no sport. And he charged himself for contempt of court. Please leave me alone, cause I'm sure all you know these songs, them is not my own. Excuse me please, I have no regret, and I wouldn't feel shame if Gypsy forget. Oh no, I never meet this spoiler in the flesh, but somebody tell me that the man was real fresh, and what I'm going to say might make you get blue. When he drink he rum and get drunk, he used to forget. The spoiler was crazy, imagination more than anybody. So himself tell himself I'm gone, let we have we fun, and as we must say, the show must go on.
We hope that this tribute would in some way contribute to the awareness of the genius of the man they called the mighty spoiler, Theophilus Philip, who sang some 50-odd tunes in public and numerous others to his fellow Calypsonians. It was a memorable occasion indeed when all of the performers came back to do a reprise on the popular bedbug. It was a personal privilege for me to be a part of that occasion.
Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as some insect or animal. Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as some insect or animal. Well, if it's so, I don't want to be a monkey, neither a goat or sheep or donkey. My brother say you want to come back a hog, but no spoiler, I want to be a bedbug just because I got to bite them young ladies' partner. Like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you think of being a bride, the only big fat woman that are going to buy.
I want to fall. What you like to be, they asked Mr. Ross. He say he want the devil to turn him a horse. So they ask the next fella Colorance. He say he want to come back a big plateau gun. They too foolish. When you become a horse, you have to carry people load, get licks from your boss. And as the wood dance, it's whole load you have to eat. But as a bed bugger, biting the human being. Edison! Bite them young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you didn't go in a
I know enough some men how they fast and fresh. They will be waiting on this bed bug to bite your flesh. But I won't bite a man if you kill me dead. Not as long as the opposite sex on the bed. Biting a man, I might break my teeth. And though a bed bug man's skin harder than concrete. Biting a man, the result is bad. Man's skin up to one hairs and the legs too hard. I'm going to bite them young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you didn't go in the right, it's only big bad woman I'm going to bite.
Yes, I want you to believe me, so help me bless. I want to be a kind of different from about all the rest. I ain't biting no ordinary people. I got to be quite social and respectable, like some female doctors and barristers, duchesses, princesses with nice figures. And when I bite them so, I go in and pose and I call in myself King Bedbug Peoples. If you want to bite them young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you can go be in a fright, only big fat women are going to bite.
What a fall. Listen. All right, everybody go sing now. Everybody go sing the chorus. Right? Now. I'm gonna bite that young lady's partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know you didn't go be in a bride, there's only big fat woman. One more time. One more time. I'm gonna bite that young lady's partner. Alvin, come. Come, Alvin. Alvin, come and sing a verse. Sing till Alvin come. One more time. Mr. Daniel.
Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as an insect or animal. Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you have to come back as an insect or animal. Well, not me, I don't want to be a monkey, neither a goat, a sheep or donkey. My brother say he want to come back a hog, but as the spoiler, I want to be a bed bug. That is why I want to buy them young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. And if you know your thing, don't be in a fright. It's only big fat women that are going to ride.
Bill Trotman, as a person who rubbed shoulders with Spoiler, saw him operate backstage and watched him closely on a stage, describe Spoiler for me.
He was a good-looking fellow to begin with, tallish, about my height, as good-looking. He was so good-looking that people find that I look exactly like him, as a matter of fact. He always wore a Panama hat, was always well-dressed, sort of like a suit. You know, he used to wear small bottoms, big knees, always had on a nice jacket. And he liked stripes quite a bit.
Like you.
And, and he had long fingers with fat joints in the fingers, you know? And he was the kind of fellow that articulated with his hands when he sang. One of the things that I would never forget, I could see him using these hands, you know, when he's...
Yeah, Spoiler is great. His imagination, you know, how he can think up these things, you know. You know, you put your money in the bank and people come and put money on top of yours, and in order to get out yours, they have to take out theirs. Great.
If I have to get down into composing, I mean, I don't have the imagination like Spoiler, but I wish a next composer could come up on the scene who could bring out songs like what Spoiler did. And his imagination is great, and he left that with me.
When you listen to Spoiler, to me, Spoiler is Calypso, is what Calypso is all about. Spoiler, the type of things he sing. You know, Calypso is creative thing, and I always love Spoiler. Spoiler to me is one of the greatest, and I don't think that he really gets, you know, what he deserves.
The late mighty Spoiler was a very good friend of mine. As a matter of fact, he inspired me to keep on singing Calypso. And when he died, if I may say so myself, I was the only pallbearer who did not give up the handle at all. Took him from the church right on to the cemetery. The other people changed hands, but I knew that I have lost something where culture is concerned that we would take a very, very, very long time to even come close to. And I knew I had lost a very good friend.
To me, Spoiler is one of the greatest Calypsonians ever born. His composition, his style, his rendition, is everything. Spoiler is one of the greatest. I never heard no Calypsonian come at least close to him.
How do you think Spoiler would like to be remembered?
As a genius. I think Spoiler would like to be remembered wearing his Panama hat, tie, suit, looking sharp all the time, and singing those kind of calypsos that will remain with you forever.
I think he would like to be remembered as one of, if not the greatest Calypsonian that ever walked on Mother's Earth.
As we come to the end of tonight's Calypso Showcase, let me remind you of our new time, 9:30 p.m. for Calypso Showcase, right in the middle of prime time. And coming up, we have a number of wonderful shows planned. We have been responding to some of the calls that you've been giving us. Yes, we are going to be doing an interview with Robbie Greenidge on the winning panorama arrangement with Desperados, so look out for that. But what's more important right now is that you can see a repeat of the tribute to the mighty Spoiler at the Harvard Club this coming Friday, the 5th of August from 9 p.m. Tickets are obtainable both at the Harvard Club and at Crosby's in St. James. So join us and sing along to this tribute to the great mighty Spoiler. See you there.
I was simply asking the people if they know to tell us if they enjoyed it. No, but it is a real sad thing indeed. Why you coming up here and tell me you can read? I want you to tell me the reason why you try to mama guy and say you have a bad eye. When I take you and you see I hand you the book, you only see everything in one when you take a look. But I'm telling you, you should put it in the pit. You couldn't recognize not one thing written on it. Hey. Well, you hear Gypsy take off with a speed, telling people inside here I can't read. But what you say, it might sound really great, but everybody know that I'm a collegiate. I went to Oxford University. I went all over the world, as you can see. So all I would like the people to know, tell me if you enjoy the Calypso. But don't fool people saying you are a collegiate. I'm telling you, you should not go and play the fool, cause in Grenada it hardly had a primary school. You're coming down here, best you shut your mouth. I want to know what the hell you're talking about. You never went to no damn university. The only Oxford is Oxford Shoe Polish Company.
Hey.
La bamba de la da do, bamba